What up, Facebook? It is telling me you're now live. So I'm going to believe that I am and hope that that is the case. So what's up, you guys? Happy freaking Friday, Junior. I appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of feedback on some of the questions that have been coming into my anonymous Q&As, as well as some of you making them not so anonymous, which is totally perfect as well. I love when you guys feel comfortable enough to like share those questions, but I know that some people just really value anonymity. So excuse me, that's why I leave it as an option as well. And I do apologize because I did come on here a little bit later than anticipated because I was meeting with motherfucking Coach Liz. So she and I needed to have a little catch up and chat about all the amazing things going on in our coaching worlds. So yeah, I apologize for being late. But if you're watching this, can you give it a thumbs up, a heart, like it, something, whatever? Would love to hear it. Love to see it. And if you have any particular questions or anything, drop them in the comments. And if there's anything I can help you work through while I'm on here, let me know and I will try my best to do that. But basically, what I want to do is get into some of the Q&A that I have seen come through from your guys' submissions. And like I said, if something else comes up, then we will do the damn thing. All right, this one I want to talk about. This is literally the first one on the list. I'm not choosing anything in particular. It's just if I come across it and I feel like I can speak on that topic, then that is what we're going to do. So come on, thing, open up. Sorry, technology doesn't love me, and you guys know that. What's up, Faina? Thanks for being here, my friend. So this person says, I believe you recently added GLP shots to your health regimen. Can you share? Oh my gosh, where is the entire question? Let me see if I can get it up here. I don't know why it won't open, you guys. It's driving me absolutely insane. Can you share? There we go. What led you to that decision? Any research findings that made you feel comfortable trying it? What has your experience been? I honestly don't know much about it, but from what I've seen, I would be nervous about unknown long-term risks, having to take it forever to continue with the results and the side effects. So first, I want to address that the unknown long-term list. You guys, GLP-1s are not new. They have been around for decades. I believe since the 90s, which I know it doesn't sound like that's decades for young bucks like us, right? But I'm like, actually, Crystal, you're nearly 40 years old. The 90s was a long time ago. These things are not new, you guys. They're here to stay. They are just coming out a lot, right, in media because they're getting a lot of attention for the side effects of weight loss that everybody wants to utilize them for. However, there are so many other benefits to these weight loss injections. And I say weight loss injections because, again, that's what they're being categorized as. There are benefits for autoimmune. There are benefits for cognition, like lots and lots of things going on here outside of just the weight loss. So I did direct somebody to this recently who asked me like why I had started taking them or whatever. And it basically came down to the fact that I am a coach who I want to be able to experience things that I am coaching people through. So if I'm coaching somebody through macros, like I'm just telling them, hey, tracking your macros is super valuable. How could I speak on that if I didn't have any experience with it? If I am coaching somebody through strength training and I'm like, strength training is super valuable, how would I have any experience to be able to direct them and tell them that that is truth if I hadn't actually done it myself? And so I know that it sounds silly because it's like, yeah, but that's just strength training and that's just macros. You're literally shooting yourself up with drugs every week, Crystal. Like, again, these are peptides. These are things that our bodies naturally form anyways. It's just that my body doesn't produce enough for me to get the side effects that I was wanting from it or seeing if I could get the desired outcome from, which I wanted to see if weight loss was something that was possible for me. Because again, I know I'm going to work with clients who are using them. How do I know that? Because I was working with clients who were using them and I still am to this day. And those people, I couldn't get to them, right? I couldn't relate to them because I'm like, I don't understand what it means to like not be hungry. I don't understand why you're struggling to get in your 100+ grams of protein. I don't understand why, you can't find time to get in these 15-minute workouts. So I just really like to be a guinea pig for myself. Thank you, Amanda. You said, love that you live what you teach. And that's the thing. I'm acting inside my integrity because I am also one of the coaches who is taking this and is being vocal about it. I have nothing to fucking hide. I didn't come out and like announce it publicly until later on this summer, when I thought I was to a good place where I actually was like, cool, I've gathered enough data on myself. I understand how it works. I understand the side effects, but I also understand that utilizing these methods it's unlike, it's the same as working with any of my other clients who are not using them. I still actively have to coach my clients through, you need to eat this much protein. You need to eat this many calories. You need to eat this much fiber and fruits and veggies. You need to be this active every day. You need to get in strength training. So at the end of the day, when it comes to a client being on or not on a GLP-1, or myself being on or not on a GLP-1, I can tell you right now, they have to do the exact same things that anybody else does. That's why if anyone ever like tried to come at me and be like, well, she only lost weight because she was on a GLP-1, bitch, I lost weight because I was consistent as fuck. Like, I was taking the GLP-1 because it definitely helped with managing my appetite. It is an extreme appetite suppressant. So for me, it did make it so that I was just never hungry. And so it's not that I was forcing myself to eat necessarily, but I literally had to be intentional about, Crystal, you will eat this meal and you will eat this much protein and this much fruits and veggies and and you will eat this many calories every day. I had to be intentional and force myself through it. And so I just have to be that living proof of, if I'm capable of doing it, and I get it, I'm a coach and I've been doing all this stuff for a long time, but if I'm capable of doing it, then I know everybody else that I coach who is on these is capable of doing it too. Does it mean that it's easy? No, it's not easy when you're not hungry to go scarf down 30 grams of protein. It's not easy when you're not hungry to go eat some fucking fruits and vegetables. But what the GLP-1s do is they make it a lot easier to turn down eating the fucking bullshit foods that too many people are eating in too high of an abundance that is causing them to have excess body fat and excess weight. So if you're someone like me who, again, I mentioned this previously, but like I have a lot of food noise in my head about food. I was constantly fixated on food, obsessed with food, always planning my next meal, always excited for my next meal. I even, before I started with the GLP-1s, I had done a parasite cleanse because pretty sure I had a fucking parasite because I never felt full and satisfied from my meals. It didn't matter if I was eating 2,500 calories plus a day of just proteins and fruits and vegetables and whole grains and healthy fats and stuff. It did not matter. I was always hungry. And so one of the main indicators of always being hungry, even when you're eating a high protein diet and a high fiber diet, is that you likely have a parasite. And here's the thing, most of us do have parasites, especially if you're somebody who travels like internationally, like myself, and or if you're somebody who eats like sushi and stuff, like, yeah, you probably have fucking parasites and you are unaware of it. So again, that was something that was super helpful for me. I think that once I did that whole parasite cleanse process, that helped tremendously with my overall hunger levels. And I actually was like, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like to feel satisfied from your food. However, again, I wanted to experiment with the GLP-1s because I knew they weren't going away. And I knew I had some like weight loss goals I wanted to achieve. And I wanted to be able to also coach clients through it because I just don't know how you can trust a coach who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. If they've never utilized it, like, what are you doing? Just like if I have a client who comes to me and she is prenatal or postnatal and she wants coaching specific to that period of her life, I'm like, dope, I can't coach you, right? Like, here's what I can coach you through. I can coach you through basic nutritional needs and basic workouts and stuff. But Coach Liz is on my team because she is qualified and specialized to work with women in that stage of their life. She can help women who want to get pregnant, get fucking pregnant. She can help women who just had a kid, get back to doing what they're supposed to do to take care of themselves and their baby in that postnatal stage. So I'm not qualified to work with somebody if it's something that, one, I don't want to learn more about, and two, that I just like don't feel like I have experienced enough of. So yeah, I know that was a whole big old tangent, but I feel very confident in working with, sorry, I'm just kind of reading through that question again to make sure I just go through everything. But as far as research findings, I just was doing a lot of listening, right? So listening to like my mentors, for example, who they had their own sort of trials with using the GLP-1s. They have worked with like doctors who specialize in this field and again, who have been for decades, such as I would suggest looking into if you're somebody who wants to know more about it from people who know what the fuck they're talking about. Dr. Seeds is one, Dr. Tina, that's Tyna, and Dr. Lauren. I could drop their links in the comments if anybody wants, and you can follow them on Instagram or something. But I just was learning so much more through people like this in this profession. And so right now I am working with my mentors where we are actually coaching 50 plus people through utilizing GLP-1s. Okay, we're on weekly coaching calls with these clients, and we also have just like a private coaches call after those calls, and we're just learning how to appropriately coach these people through it. And every week, I think it's every week so far, we've had one of these doctors, one of these experts in this field, who is speaking on the subject matter to our community of the coaches and the clients. So I'm getting to be about as qualified as you fucking can be to be on a GLP-1. For example, I'm going to tell you guys, we do have a challenge coming up here. Anyways, I'll be announcing that soon. But a woman who wanted to sign up for this challenge that I did sort of a soft launch with a special group of people this past week, she messaged me. She's like, well, here's the thing. Like, I want to do it, but like, I'm on my GLP-1 and da-da-da. What's your advice? I'm like, dope. Guess what? You're like, do you know how much food you're eating? How many calories? How much protein? Blah, blah, blah. Amazing. I'm going to tell you to eat more than that. And I'm going to tell you to trust me because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And the people who are on GLP-1s need even more protein than the average person who is trying to just lose weight and lose body fat. So my girl, she's like, oh, I probably eat like 80 to 90 grams of protein a day. I'm like, cool, not enough. Like, I'm going to give you the protocols that you need to be successful with this because I need more out of you. Your body needs more out of you. And I'm not going to give you what you want or what you think you're capable of doing or what you feel like doing. I'm going to give you what you need. That is the kind of coach that I am. I am not a sugarcoat it for you, little bitch. I am going to tell you what you need to help you succeed. So at the end of the day, if somebody's goal is fat loss, and somebody's goal is also, but I also want to like look lean and toned and defined, then guess what? We have to go through a phase where you're intentional about building muscle and not losing weight. We have to eat at least your calorie mains, if not a slight surplus, and we have to eat enough protein and we have to strength train with intensity and intention in order to build muscle. Because if I just have you lose weight and you haven't built any muscle, you're not going to look any better. So again, I'm going to tell you what you need regardless of whether or not you want to hear it. Okay. So I hope that was plenty on the GLP-1 talk. And of course, like I said, if you guys have more questions, feel free to drop them. Okay. I love this one. This person says, and this was actually coming from, this is a piece of content I wanted to make, but somebody said, exercises to avoid. I don't want anything that's going to make my waist thicker. I gain all my weight in my stomach and hips, and I don't want to make that muscle thicker. So this actually came from a client intake form that I had, because I do ask people specifically when they're a one-on-one client, like, is there anything we should avoid? Like, because maybe they have an injury or they're not able to move a certain way. And this feedback, I don't want anything that's going to make my waist thicker. Can anyone guess the one exercise that is going to make your waist thicker? It's too many of these. Too many scooping up that fucking fork and putting excess food in your mouth. It's too many of these drinking too much alcohol and putting too much alcohol down your throat, right? That is what makes your waist thicker, not an exercise. There isn't an exercise on God's green earth that is going to make your waist thicker. If your waist is thicker, it's because you're eating too many fucking calories, period, point blank. Okay. Sorry, you guys know I just get a little like, ugh. But this is what's so ridiculous to me is people think like, I know what she's thinking when she's thinking of like a thick waist or like a boxy waist or something. You're thinking like those CrossFit athletes, right? Like those babes that have these like blocky abs, but they still have abs, right? They're genetically predispositioned to have that sort of a figure, and their sport aids in them doing that. But they were already people who are more prone to that sport because the sport just highlights it, right? You just happen to see a lot of women in CrossFit or something who are high performing athletes in that field. They happen to have that blocky like physique, but they were already like that. And then they just tend to excel in that sport. The sport didn't make them that way. They just happen to be really good at it. Just like Michael Phelps, he has really long limbs, right? He has really long arms. That makes him a good swimmer. He didn't become a swimmer because he has long arms, but he became a swimmer, and it worked at his advantage that he has really long arms that help him to be a better swimmer. Simone Biles, she is a very small, compact gymnast. Like, her sport didn't lead to her physique looking that way. It is, she has that sort of just overall body composition and physique, and that makes her better at that sport. And so she trains for it specifically. So again, like, there is no exercise. You can't do squats or deadlifts or crunches or sit-ups or planks or bicep curls or tricep extensions. You can't do anything to make your waist thicker. That is called controlling what the fuck you put in your mouth. Okay. So I'm going to actually have to make that into a piece of content. I can't believe I forgot about that one. All right, so this person asked, how do you figure out your maintenance calories? So this is a great question. So here's what I'm going to suggest. Get out a fucking pen and paper for anybody listening. How do you find your how do you find your maintenance calories? What you need to do, you need to weigh your food, everything you're fucking eating for 2 weeks straight, okay? 7 to 14 days. It could be as little as 7, okay? But I highly recommend doing 2 weeks because, no 2 weeks usually look the same for most people. There's like shit going on every other week, right? So if you really want to give yourself a good opportunity to do this, 14 days, you're weighing everything on a food scale. You're being as diligent as possible. And you're also weighing yourself on a scale every day. At the end of that 7 to 14 days, you then go through, you look to see your caloric average. Okay, amazing. And then you also look to see your average scale weight. Well, did your average scale weight over the course of that 2 weeks, did it drop down? Did it stay the same? Did it go up? If your weight stayed the same for 2 weeks and your calorie average was, let's call it 2,000 calories, then it's pretty likely that your maintenance calories are 2,000 calories. But if you weighed yourself daily for those 14 days and you were eating 2,000 calories and the scale trended up, well, you could probably rest assured that 2,000 calories is probably a little bit higher than your maintenance calories. So you might want to experiment with a week of dropping those calories by like 200. Okay, let's see how we do with 1,800. Basically, you're only going to know if your calories are your maintenance calories if you are maintaining your weight. Okay. When you're coming out of a fat loss phase, the way that I do it with my clients is, okay, we're at the end of a fat loss phase. You successfully lost 10 pounds. Awesome. We're going to slowly bring your calories up. So we'll bring them up like 50 calories a day for a week, for example. So let's say they ended at 1,500 calories. Okay, for the next week, we're going to have you eating 1,550 calories a day on average. And you're going to be, again, weighing in with my clients. It's at least 3 times a week. And we look to see what happened with the scale. Cool. Let's give it another week. I don't care if it stayed the same or if it went up slightly or if it went down. Again, I want to give us a couple of weeks to test out those numbers and see how your body responds. And from there, we then decide, okay, is the scale doing okay? Is it maintaining pretty steadily? Great. Maybe let's add on another 50. And we just keep going until their body sort of seems to be maintaining. We're not having crazy fluctuations on the scale. Measurements are still staying relatively the same. And again, we're maintaining more of the physique that we ended that fat loss phase with rather than the scale, because it is very normal for when you come out of a fat loss phase for that scale to go up anywhere from like 2 to 5 pounds. But we probably want to stay within that tight range. And that is, again, that's how you find your maintenance calories. You just sort of wait to see, when does my body just even out and level out? If you went successfully from 1,500 calories up to 1,800 calories, and you're just sort of in this wiggle room between, a 2 to 5 pound gain, and we want to hang out there, then cool, we can hang out there. You could use an online calculator, like a TDEE calculator. I tell you right now, it's not going to be accurate. You could put your stats into something like MyFitnessPal. They could tell you how much you need to eat in order to lose 2 pounds a week. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be accurate. So don't trust those online calculators. You instead have to treat yourself as a science experiment, and you just have to test it out. Okay. That I tell my clients that all the time. We're just giant science experiments. We're just seeing what does and doesn't work. That's it. That's literally all we can do. And you know your body, and I'm going to help you to learn your body better than any sort of online calculator could ever do. Okay. All right. This person asked, is it better to eat more carbs or protein before a workout? What about after the workout is complete? This is, well, I don't know. This one could take a while as well. So this all comes down to your preference. This all comes down to your schedule. So for instance, if you are somebody who you just tend to work out okay, fasted, like let's say you're a 5 a.m. warrior, right? You get up, you're at the gym first thing in the morning, nothing else is happening. What I would recommend for somebody like that who does an early morning workout, you're probably going to benefit from having like a higher carbohydrate and higher protein meal as your final meal of the day for dinner the night before, right? So having a good amount of carbs, a good amount of protein, your body will be able to utilize that fuel from the carbohydrates in that workout the next morning just fine. And as long as you're getting a meal in within like an hour after your training session first thing in the morning, you should be good. We want this to be a good balance of proteins and carbs. I'm going to suggest right away having at least about 25 grams of protein in that meal right after your workout, getting in some carbs as well. This can be something super simple. You could do a ready to drink like Fairlife protein shake. You could have a banana. You could blend up a protein powder with some cashew milk and a banana. And that makes a great little like sort of milkshake consistency protein shake, but get in some protein, get in some carbs. There is no like perfect balance or whatever. You just have to see what your body responds to favorably and what is going to be convenient enough for you. Okay. But the one thing to sort of try to avoid, honestly, is going to be, you don't want to have a bunch of fat before that workout, because it's just going to be kind of, and it might lead to some like digestion issues during your workout, and nobody wants that. There is some sort of like, you'll hear people talk about like, oh, don't have fats to like right after you're in that post-workout meal, because it's going to slow down the rate of absorption for your protein and your carbs. And it really doesn't fucking matter, you guys. You're getting way too far into the weeds. We don't need to be concerned about our nutrition timing unless you're like an advanced athlete and or you're training for a sport or a competition. Like for me, when I was training for my half marathon in the summer, if I was doing a long run, then like, yeah, I was going to have a rice cake with a little bit of cookie butter and some bananas, and that was like my pre-workout meal. And then during my run, I would have more carbs. I was eating like the fruit roll-up type things and stuff to get easy carbs, but that was sport specific training. For the average person who just wants to work out because they know it's good for them, they're just trying to get stronger and stuff, just what does your body tell you need? If you're feeling lightheaded or dizzy or like you're not getting stronger in your workouts, then you might benefit from having a small meal before your workout. Have a rice cake with some nut butter and some peanut butter or some banana slices, maybe a protein shake or even half a protein shake. Have, a bowl of oatmeal with, again, a protein shake or a little bit of yogurt. Do what works best for you. And if you're working out later on in the day, well, like let's say you're working out after lunch or something, well then yeah, you might not want to have like a big heavy meal. Like you might not want to have your big breakfast or your big lunch or your big dinner and then go straight to a workout. You'll likely benefit more from spacing that about 60 minutes in between that larger meal and your workout. Because again, we just don't want things like jostling around inside us and stuff. And especially if you're somebody who's doing like some bullshit fucking group fitness classes where you're jumping around and stuff, which like, why are you doing that to yourself in the first place? But yeah, that would be super uncomfortable to have a bunch of food jostling when you're doing some burpees. Side note, my clients don't do burpees because they're fucking stupid. When do you have to do a burpee in real life? You don't. Ever. So why would I program them for you? Okay. So again, carbs and protein, have a nice little balance, have a nice little ratio. Don't overthink it. If you want something to shoot for, cool. Let's shoot for like 25 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs pre-workout, 25 grams post-workout. Amazing. If that gives you just like, oh, I need something. And again, that was very general and there's absolutely no science behind that. I'm just telling you, if it makes you feel good, go for that. All right. What else? Let's see. Okay. This one, I know I posted a reel about it before when somebody asked it, but they said, what's the best way to measure meat, before or after you cook it? What about meat that's already cooked, like a rotisserie chicken? I like to cook large amounts of chicken or ground beef and freeze it. Is it accurate to measure it after it thaws? So here's what I do. Okay. Here's what I will say first and foremost. However you can do it consistently, do it that way. So if you're somebody who you're like, you're going in your food log and you're putting in chicken thighs, if you did not weigh it before when it was raw, and so you have no idea what the raw weight was, then you're going to go in there and you're going to record chicken thigh cooked USDA ounces, boom. And you're going to look for a cooked one and you're going to have it as cooked. If you're somebody who wants to measure those chicken thighs before you cook it, let's say you take 4 ounces of chicken thighs, you measured it out, you cooked it on your stove or on your grill or whatever. Amazing. You're going to record it as raw because that was the raw weight that you recorded, right? So 4 ounces chicken thighs, let's say it was 130 calories. That is what you're recording in MyFitnessPal. But for those of you that know, well, I cooked 4 ounces. It was 4 ounces before I cooked it. And then after I cooked it, I went and measured it. It was only 3 ounces. Yeah. Raw versus cooked are different. When we measure out 4 ounces of raw chicken, it is 4 ounces. So cool. Once we cook it, it's probably going to weigh 3 ounces because typically when we cook something, when we cook a meat, it usually loses about 25% of its weight from water. Okay. It is losing water weight, but the nutrition profile, the protein, the fats, they are the same raw as they now are cooked. It's just that it was in a 4 ounce raw serving and now it's in a 3 ounce cook serving. So you're either going to you just need to do it the same way that you can always be consistent with it. If you're recording things as raw, great. Record them as raw, but make sure it is factual, right? On the packaging of like the chicken thighs that I buy at Costco, that is the raw weight because that is how they're selling it. If they are selling something as this is chicken thighs and this is the nutrition information, they're referring to the nutrition content based on the way that it is sold. Those are sold raw. Now, the rotisserie chicken. So I am somebody who I buy the hand pulled rotisserie chicken at Costco. If you don't fucking do that, you are insane. It is so good. And I had somebody like, oh, but it's cheaper to just buy the chicken. Cool. But you also have to do all the work and get all messy and gross. And I don't have fucking time for that. So I buy it hand pulled and I take the package, I put it into 2 separate quart size baggies and I throw them in the freezer and then I can just take it out when I want to. So anyways, if you're buying, for instance, the hand pulled rotisserie chicken, that shit is already cooked. So the label that it says on there is like 3 ounces. Yeah, you're going to measure out 3 ounces cooked rotisserie chicken, and that's how you record it. Okay. So fun little fact. It is when you go to cook a raw meat, it typically will lose 25% of its weight, as I said before. So 4 ounces raw usually turns into 3 ounces cooked. And try this experiment for yourself sometime, you guys. But if we wanted to convert it from cooked to raw, that means we just have to do the opposite. So again, if you are cooking it, it's subtracting 25%, which would be the same as multiplying it by 0.75, right? Go do it on your calculator. If you don't trust me, what is 4 times 0.75? It is 3 ounces, right? It lost 25% of its weight. But if we're taking something from a cooked measurement and we, for some reason, want to know what the raw measurement was, because maybe we're like, oh shit, I cooked this already, but I have no idea what the weight was raw, you multiply it by 1.33. So if you were to do that, I'll do it on my calculator right now. Let's say we had 3 ounces of cooked chicken and I was like, oh shit, but I normally record it as raw in my food log or whatever. Do the cooked weight times 1.33. And that will give you the cooked weight, which was 3.99 ounces or 4 ounces if we're just rounding. Okay. So again, going raw to cooked, multiply by 0.75. Going cooked to raw, multiply by 1.33. That's a whole lot of shit. But again, in regards to like, just take whatever is on the package labeling and that is however they're selling it, that is how those nutrition facts are reflecting it. All right, I want to dive into this. Jessica says, 2005, first GLP-1 exenatide, def not appropriate / needed for everyone, important to weigh, pun intended, LOL, whether necessary, and take into account lifestyle changes, also vital. Speaking from POV of a pharmacist, keep main thing. It does turn down food noise though, I hear from patients. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, there are different, you have to like talk to your doctor about this, you guys, and like what works for you. I am never going to recommend for a client to go on a GLP-1. They can ask me what I think about them using it. And I'm like, cool, dope. What does your doctor say? Right. But I've never once told a client to go on it. For me, it was all about what is my personal experience? What do I notice? I was actually hoping that it would potentially help me with some skin issues that I'm having, because I have heard of things with it supporting potentially like autoimmune disorders or autoimmune and wow, what am I trying to say here? I can't even think of the word, but different like immunity properties and whatnot. So for me, I wanted to see if it would work because I did have these just weird skin issues that seemed to come out of nowhere and I couldn't tie them to any particular kind of food or anything. I haven't noticed any sort of improvements with it. However, again, one of my mentors who was using the same peptide as I was, he was noticing improvements with his psoriasis. And yeah, so I don't know, just different things for different people. And I appreciate somebody speaking from like a pharmacist rep or a pharmacist like POV, because again, you shouldn't be doing any of this without the consultation of a medical professional, you guys. That is why, again, I did it because I was like, cool, I'm working with these clients who they're working with doctors who don't know anything about nutrition and fitness, because there are doctors were saying like, oh yeah, get in protein. But are they telling them how much protein to get? Are they giving their clients a way to track and measure and monitor their protein intake? Are they asking the client or their patient how much protein they're eating? No. So I know I can help with the lifestyle factor of them utilizing a GLP-1. I can tell them, yes, we need to be strength training and here's what your strength training should look like. Yes, you need to be eating and this is what you should be eating. But but I'm never going to tell them, oh yeah, you should increase your dosage or you should decrease your dosage, or, oh, your doctor is giving you too much or too little. I'm going to, if it's feasible, I want for myself and the client and their doctor to all three be in communication so we can come up with the best protocols for that client. So yeah, for sure. And yes, it definitely turned down food noise for me. That was the thing that I was looking for, is it got me over that bullshit. So I know there's a bit of a tangent there, but like I said, anytime somebody has a comment here, I definitely want to address it, you guys. Okay, so we talked about the meat. And that puts us at 30 minutes. That's good. I went on a lot of tangents there today. A lot of things for you guys to, I'm sure, ponder and debate. And that's what this community is about. It's not about me always being right. It is not about me having the best sort of information. I'm just giving you guys my 2 cents and where I'm coming from. And I really like this to be an open space for people to just like learn and have discussions. And if you have like any experience that you want to share with the group that you think would be beneficial for others, please do that. And if you have questions, like put them in the group. That's what we're all here for. I just love this to be a place of people that are being supportive, people that are sharing their knowledge, and people who can share other awesome resources, because that's how I have really done my best learning, is by finding things out there through other people. So, you know, I've got plenty of fucking certifications. I've done the schooling and stuff, and I learn the most from hands-on experience and from learning from other people who have plenty of hands-on experience. Like, textbooks suck, you guys. It's all about learning from people who are actually out there in the real world doing those things. So thank you for being a part of this with me. I do have an exciting announcement coming to you guys coming up in a couple days. I can't wait to see if any of you take me up on it. But for now, I hope you're having an amazing Friday Junior. And don't forget, we ain't fucking around and finding out this weekend. The weekends count too. You've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's nearly half of your week. So if you're thinking, oh, I made it through Thursday, I'm on point with my diet and my workouts, that doesn't give you permission to fuck off this weekend. Okay? Love you. Bye.